All right, let's get into it. Obsidian Entertainment is back, and we're blasting off to a whole new star system in the Outer Worlds, too. Now, this isn't just a simple follow up. We're talking about a deeper, way more ambitious, and honestly, visually stunning dive into that corporate controlled chaos we all know and love. So let's explore what makes this sequel such a huge leap forward.
And this quote right here, it just nails it. The sequel isn't just about throwing more content at you. It's about real narrative maturity. They took that sharp, witty heart of the first game and just blew it up, in a good way, with a truly cinematic purpose and a scope that's just massive. So first up, let's look at this ambitious leap. I mean, how do you take a game known for its incredible satire and player choice, expand its universe, and not lose what made it so special? It's a tough balancing act, for sure, but it feels like Obsidian really navigated this one with intent. And that's the key word here, purpose. The studio didn't just make the game bigger for the sake of it. No, it feels like they actually learned from their own universe. They've expanded the world and the story in a way that feels so deliberate, creating a narrative that's more cohesive and just hits harder from start to finish. And that expansion takes us far, far beyond the Halcyon system. We are venturing into a completely new corporate frontier, facing down even more powerful corporations and exploring these untamed worlds that make Halcyon look like a quiet little cul-de-sac. At its heart, the game is still a biting critique of corporate culture. Of course it is, but this time the satire has a darker edge. The humor is still there, sharp as ever, but now it's laced with this more somber, emotional weight that makes all the commentary on corporate greed just land so much harder. And you can really see the consequences of that corporate control in the art direction. It's brilliant. The visuals vividly portray the massive gap between the haves and the have-nots. Every sprawling city, every struggling outpost, it all tells a story of social disparity and bureaucratic madness. Which makes exploration absolutely key. Each planet you visit isn't just a new map, it's a whole new culture, with its own unique visual identity and color palette. You're not just discovering locations, you're uncovering entire societies that have been shaped and, let's be honest, usually broken by whatever corporation is running the show. All this fantastic world building sets the stage for what is truly the emotional heart of the experience, the characters you meet and the decisions you make. This is where Obsidian's writing really shines, and believe me, they have taken it to a whole new level. Your companions are so much more than just witty sidekicks this time around. They are deeply developed partners. I'm serious. Each one has their own compelling motivations, their own personal traumas, and a character arc that actually evolves because of your journey together. They feel like true partners. And this is so crucial. Your decisions now carry real weight. The game is constantly making you question your path. Your choices don't just lead to different dialogue, they create these organic, branching missions and fundamentally alter how entire factions see you. There's almost never an easy or correct answer. Of course, a great story needs great gameplay to back it up, right? So let's talk about how Obsidian has refined that RPG shooter formula to create a more polished and satisfying experience all around. The combat just feels better. The gunplay has this tangible weight to it that was maybe a little lacking before. The energy and ballistic effects are way more spectacular, and the enemy AI is much more dynamic. It forces you to actually think on your feet instead of just pointing and shooting. And check this out. The redesigned skill tree gives you so much more freedom to shape your character. It actively encourages unique playstyles. Want to talk your way out of every single situation? There's a viable build for that. Prefer to stick to the shadows? You can do that too. And it's all balanced beautifully against your pure combat or science builds. So, with all that said, what's the final verdict? Let's bring all these elements together and see what everyone thinks about the Outer Worlds too. First, you just cannot ignore the technical leap here. Building the game on Unreal Engine 5 has paid off big time. We're talking realistic global lighting, much more natural animations, and environments that are just packed with detail. It makes this new star system feel incredibly immersive. The critical view seems pretty clear. The Outer Worlds 2 isn't trying to reinvent the narrative RPG. Instead, its focus is on perfecting what it already does so well. That brilliant writing, meaningful choice, and of course, that signature satirical tone. It's an evolution, not a revolution.
And that focus has led to widespread praise, with the estimated average review score landing at a very strong 8.7 out of 10. I mean, that's a powerful sign that the sequel really delivered on its promise.
And if we look at the breakdown, the praise overwhelmingly centers on the brilliant writing, the deep characters, and the consistent world building. On the other side, the minor criticisms tend to focus on a familiar gameplay structure, maybe not a ton of innovation in the combat, along with some occasional technical hiccups. This quote really captures that final feeling, you know? It's a journey that is as visually impressive as it is thematically sharp, just a perfect blend of style and substance.
And ultimately, this is the takeaway. The Outer Worlds 2 manages to be bigger, deeper, and better written in almost every way, all while holding onto that distinct, sarcastic, and deeply human soul that made the original so darn special. It really is an exemplary sequel. Which brings us to our final thought. For fans of the original, and for newcomers alike, the question is this the evolution you were hoping for, a more cinematic, emotionally complex journey through the absurdities of galactic capitalism? Let us know what you think.